You woke up from the raging fire, sweating all over. The tragic scene in your previous life haunted you like a demon. In order to take the neighbor's little sister, who had an asthma attack, to the hospital, you ran 6 red lights in a row. But afterwards, the little sister's family was not only not grateful, but also blamed you. The traffic police wanted to revoke your driver's license. You asked them to testify, but they were ruthlessly mocked. We didn't ask you to run a red light. What does it have to do with us? You just said a few words back, and they maliciously slandered you online, saying that you drove fast to show off, causing the little sister's asthma attack, and also threatened their family. Those radical netizens like crazy. Not only kidnapped your pregnant wife, but also tampered with your car. When you drove to save your wife, the car exploded instantly, and you died in despair in the sea of fire. However, at this moment, you actually went back to the day before the incident. The sun shone on your face through the window, but your heart was full of haze. At this moment, the phone suddenly rang, and a mysterious voice came. Don't mind your own business, or you and your family will die. Then he hung up the phone. You held the phone, frowning. In this life, you secretly vowed that you would never let the tragedy happen again, and you must protect your family. You sat on the edge of the bed, and the phone in your hand seemed to weigh 1,000 pounds. The mysterious phone call just now made your heart rise to your throat. The painful memories of the last life came like a tide, and every detail was unforgettable. Those despair, anger, and helplessness filled your heart again. Husband, what's wrong with you? You look so bad. The concerned voice of your wife came. She gently stroked your face, her eyes full of worry. You looked at your wife's gentle face, and your heart ached. You forced a smile. It's okay, wife. I had a nightmare. You didn't want to worry your wife, so you decided to take it all on your own. All day long you were uneasy, and the experience of the last life kept replaying in your mind like a movie. At night, you lie in bed, staring at the ceiling, unable to fall asleep for a long time. You know that tomorrow will be an important turning point, and you must make a change. The next morning, you go out early. When you pass by the park, you see a group of people gathered together. In the middle, a little girl is holding her stomach, her face pale, and a middle-aged woman next to her cries anxiously. Is there anyone who can save my daughter? She has a severe stomach. Seeing this scene, your heart tightens. Isn't this a replica of the incident in the previous life? You stop and struggle fiercely in your heart. The painful lesson of the previous life makes you full of fear of rescue. But the little girl's painful appearance makes you feel unbearable. People around began to talk about it. This child. What's this? Who dares? It's hard to be a good person now. What if you're blackmailed? Alas, it looks pitiful, but we dare not help casually. During these discussions, you feel mixed emotions. Just as you hesitated, the middle-aged woman suddenly rushed towards you and grabbed your arm. Brother, please save my daughter. The ambulance won't come for a while. Please drive us to the hospital. You looked at her anxious eyes as if you saw the ungrateful family in the previous life, and felt disgusted. You shook her hand away and said coldly, I have something else to do. You can find someone else. After that, you left without looking back. Why are you like this? Watching someone die without saving. The middle-aged woman cursed loudly behind you. You ignored her and walked away quickly. This time, you told yourself that you must not be kidnapped by morality again, and you must not let tragedy happen to you and your family again. You hurried to the company, but you couldn't come down for a long time. The scene in the park kept appearing in your mind. You didn't know if your decision was right, but you knew that you didn't want to experience the pain of the previous life again. All day long, you were absent at work and made frequent mistakes. Your colleagues noticed your strangeness and cast concerned eyes on you, but you just perfunctorily said a few words and didn't want to say more. After finally getting off work, you dragged your tired body back home. Your wife came up to you as usual, took your bag, and said with a smile, Honey, how was your work today? You looked at your wife's warm smile, and the haze in your heart dissipated a little. You forced yourself to be energetic and said, It's okay, just a little tired. After dinner, you sat on the sofa watching TV, trying to relax yourself. Suddenly, the phone rang, and you saw that it was an unfamiliar number. You were startled, hesitated for a moment, and still answered the phone. Hello? Yes, uh, the wash, the How can you be so cold-blooded? If something happens to the little girl, will you have a clear conscience? An angry voice came from the other end of the phone. You frowned, feeling annoyed. Who are you? Why do you blame me? I have my own reasons. It's not your turn to say anything. Don't care who I am. Everyone is condemning you online. Just wait for your reputation to be ruined. After saying that, the other party hung up the phone. You held the phone, shaking with anger. You didn't expect that you would be accused like this, just because you refused to help once. You turned on your phone, and sure enough, someone had posted a video at the entrance of the park online. An exaggerator had described your failure to help, and the commentary was full of curses. This kind of person should be punished too heartless. If you don't help someone in danger, you are unworthy of being a human being. Do XX him and make him pay for his actions. Looking at these comments, you are angry and helpless. You know that all this may be the work of that middle-aged woman who wants to force you to submit through public opinion. But you will not be at the mercy of others like in your last life. You decide to ignore these things for the time being. Those who are innocent will be innocent. Just wait until the storm is over. However, things are not as simple as you thought. The next day, as soon as you arrived at the company, the leader called you into the office. What have you done? The company's reputation has been ruined by you. There are accusations against you everywhere on the internet. How can customers trust our company after seeing these? The leader angrily threw his mobile phone on the table, and it was the video about you. You hurriedly explained, Leader, things are not as they said. I have difficulties. What difficulties can be more important than saving people? You don't need to say more. The company has decided to suspend your work. Let's talk about it after the matter is resolved. The leader interrupted you impatiently. You walked out of the office in despair, your heart full of despair. You didn't expect that you would lose your job just because of a rejection. You know that there must be someone behind this who is fanning the flames. And that middle-aged woman is definitely not unrelated. You lost your job and were extremely depressed. You wandered aimlessly on the street. Suddenly you heard someone calling your name. You turned around and saw a young girl walking towards you. You recognized her as Lin Zhao, your colleague in the company with whom you had a good relationship. Why are you here? I heard that the company suspended you. What happened? Lin Zhao asked with concern. You smiled bitterly and shook your head, and briefly recounted what happened. After listening, Lin Zhao frowned. How could this happen? That woman was too much. But why didn't you save the little girl at that time? You hesitated for a moment, but still told her about your experience in the previous life. After hearing this, Lin Zhao was shocked. There is such a thing. No wonder you are afraid, but maybe this time it won't be like the last life? You said helplessly, I dare not take risks again. The lesson of the last life was too painful. I can't let my family get hurt again. Lin Zhao nodded thoughtfully. I understand your feelings, but now things have become a big deal. What are you going to do? I don't know. I can only wait and see. I hope this matter can be settled as soon as possible. After separating from Lin Zhao, you returned home. As soon as you entered the door, you saw your wife sitting on the sofa crying. You were startled and ran over in a hurry. Wife, what's wrong with you? The wife raised her head and said with tears on her face, Husband, someone just called and said, you are a heartless person. You hugged your wife tightly and comforted her. Don't be afraid, wife, I'm here. It must be those people who don't know the truth. I won't let you and your family get hurt. You know that things are getting more and more serious. The middle-aged woman not only slandered you online, but also began to threaten your family. You decided that you can't sit and wait for death. You have to find evidence to prove your innocence and make that woman pay for what she did. You started to collect evidence everywhere. You found the surveillance video at the entrance of the park, proving that you did not see the whole process of the little girl's illness at that time, and there were other people around who could testify that you had no obligation to rescue her. You also contacted the traffic police, who handled your case in the previous life, and explained the situation to him. The traffic police said that they would reinvestigate. At the same time, you found that the public opinion about you on the internet began to take a turn for the better. Some netizens began to question the authenticity of the video. They felt that things might not be that simple. Why would a person who usually looked good suddenly turn a blind eye to death? This gave you a glimmer of hope. However, the middle-aged woman did not intend to give up. She found an internet celebrity and asked him to help continue to hype the incident in an attempt to completely discredit you. This celebrity has millions of fans. He published an article exaggerating your evil deeds and adding some edited video clips to make you look even more hateful. After the article was published, it instantly triggered a new round of public opinion storm. Netizens began to attack you frantically again. Your personal information was exposed, and various harassing calls and text messages continued to pour in. Your parents were also implicated, and the neighbors pointed fingers at them, making their lives restless. You looked at your parents' haggard faces, and your heart was filled with guilt. You knew that you had to solve this matter as soon as possible. Otherwise, your family would be hurt even more. You decided to take the initiative. You contacted a lawyer and prepared to sue the middle-aged woman and the internet celebrity who participated in the malicious hype for defamation and infringement of reputation rights. After listening to your statement, the lawyer expressed his confidence in helping you win the case, but he needed you to provide more evidence. You began to work harder to collect evidence. You visited everyone present that day, hoping to find a strong witness. In the process, you met an enthusiastic old man. The old man said that he saw the whole picture of the incident that day, and he was willing to testify for you to prove that you were not at fault. You were very grateful to the old man, who was undoubtedly an important witness. Just when you thought things were about to turn around, another trouble arose. The internet celebrity got the news that you were going to sue him from nowhere, and he began to spread some negative rumors about your family on the internet, trying to divert public attention and threatening you at the same time. I heard that this man's wife had a problem with her style. No wonder he was so cold-blooded. Turned out that it was caused by the family environment. His parents were not good people either. They didn't educate him well since he was a child. Great. Your wife cried all day long, and his parents were so angry that they could not get up from bed. Your son. You know that this internet celebrity has completely angered you. You must make him pay a heavy price for his behavior. You see your family suffer so much because of you, and your anger is burning. You decide not to show mercy and teach those who maliciously hurt your family a hard lesson. You and your lawyer are stepping up to prepare the litigation materials. At the same time, you also start to fight back online. You registered a new account and published the truth of the matter in detail, including your experience in the previous life and the various frame-ups you encountered in this life. You also attached the evidence you collected, surveillance videos, witness testimonies, etc., trying to let netizens understand the whole picture of the matter. At first, netizens did not believe you. They were still led astray by the middle-aged woman and the internet celebrity, and ridiculed and attacked your remarks. Don't quibble here. You are a conscienceless person. It's interesting to make up so many lies. Previous life. Do you think you are filming a TV series? It's too outrageous. But as more and more evidence was exposed, some rational netizens began to re-examine the matter. They found that the evidence you provided seemed more convincing, and the remarks of the middle-aged woman, the internet celebrity, had many loopholes. At the same time, the news of your lawsuit also attracted the attention of the media. Some reporters began to investigate the matter in depth. They interviewed the people who were present that day and learned the true story of the incident. With the intervention of the media, public opinion began to gradually turn. More and more netizens began to support you. They condemned the bad behavior of the middle-aged woman and the internet celebrity and asked them to apologize to you. Seeing that the situation was not good, the internet celebrity tried to delete the previously published articles, but it was too late. All the evidence had been saved. The middle-aged woman began to panic. She didn't expect things to develop like this. She tried to contact you and wanted to resolve the matter privately, but you decisively rejected her. You told her that she had to pay the price for her behavior and you would not let her go easily again. However, at this critical moment, the little girl's condition suddenly worsened and she died in the end. The middle-aged woman seized this opportunity and started up a stir online again. She cried and said that it was because of your failure to save the little girl that she died, and she asked you to take full responsibility. It was all his fault. If he had saved my daughter at that time, my daughter would not have died. He is the murderer. The emotions of netizens were ignited again, and they began to blame you once ideal why. Some people even launched a joint campaign to ask you to compensate the middle-aged woman for the huge mental damages. Faced with this sudden change, you feel unprecedented pressure. But you know that you can't back down. You firmly believe that the truth will always come out. And you must seek justice for yourself and your family. The death of the little girl made things more complicated, and you faced an unprecedented dilemma. But you were not defeated, but more determined to reveal the truth. After discussing with your lawyer, you decided to prove your innocence in court with solid evidence. You constantly sorted out the details of the case and looked for every possible breakthrough. At the same time, you also paid close attention to the public opinion trends on the internet and responded to the doubts of netizens in a timely manner. The day of the trial is getting closer and closer, and you feel both nervous and excited. You are nervous because this lawsuit is related to the future of you and your family, and you are excited because you finally have the opportunity to clear your grievances in court. A few days before the trial, you found another important clue. Through investigation, you learned that there is an interest group behind the middle-aged woman and the internet celebrity who is manipulating everything. This interest group specializes in making profits by creating hot topics of public opinion. They use the sympathy of netizens to push some innocent people to the forefront and then profit from it. You provided this clue to the lawyer and the police quickly launched an investigation. As the investigation deepened, the true face of this interest group gradually surfaced. It turned out that they had planned many similar incidents before and earned a lot of ill-gotten gains through malicious hype and extortion. On the day of the trial, the court was full, and many media and netizens were paying attention to this lawsuit. You and the lawyer stood in the plaintiff's seat with serious expressions. In the defendant's seat, the middle-aged woman and the internet celebrity looked a little guilty. After the trial began, the lawyer first stated the course of the case, and then presented the evidence you had collected one by one. Evidence: surveillance video, witness testimony, police investigation materials on interest groups, etc. These evidences form a complete chain which strongly proves your innocence and the defendant's malicious accusation and defamation. The lawyers of the middle-aged woman and the internet celebrity tried to refute, but their defense seemed pale and powerless in the face of ironclad evidence. When the police's investigation results on interest groups were announced, the whole court was in an uproar. Netizens suddenly realized that they had been used. In the end, the court made a judgment. The middle-aged woman and the internet celebrity were sentenced to publicly apologize to you for defamation and infringement of reputation rights, and compensate you for mental damages, reputation damages, etc., totaling 1 million yuan. At the same time, the members of the interest group who participated in planning this incident were also sanctioned by law. When the judge announced the verdict, a big stone in your heart finally fell. You looked at the two dejected people in the dock, without a trace of pity in your heart. This is the punishment they deserve. Walking out of the court, warm applause rang out outside. Netizens who support you gathered around and congratulated you. You felt the power of justice and understood that you must not retreat in the face of injustice and must fight bravely. However, things did not end there. Although you won the lawsuit, the shadow of the little girl's death always loomed over you. You know that no matter what the result is, the loss of a life is sad. You decided to use the compensation to do something meaningful, to commemorate the little girl and to convey positive energy to the society. When you took the compensation, the first thing you thought of was to set up a public welfare fund to help those who were in trouble due to untimely assistance when they had sudden illnesses. You hope that through this fund, more people can get timely assistance when they encounter difficulties and avoid tragedies. You and your wife are busy with the preparation of the fund, contacting relevant departments to handle procedures, looking for partners, and formulating the operating rules of the fund. In this process, you encountered many difficulties, but you never gave up. After several months of hard work, the Public Welfare Fund was finally established. You named it Rebirth Hope Fund, which means that you hope that those in trouble can get a chance to be reborn. As soon as the news of the establishment of the fund was released, it received widespread attention and support from all walks of life. Many caring people donated money in the hope of contributing to this fund. During the operation of the fund, you encountered various cases of help. There are elderly people who are in urgent need of surgery due to sudden heart attacks, and children who face high medical expenses due to accidents. You and your team members carefully review each help information to ensure that every donation can really help those in need. Once you received a call for help from a young mother. Her child has congenital heart disease and needs surgery as soon as possible, but the high cost of surgery makes her helpless. You and your team members quickly verified the situation and then transferred the surgery fee to the hospital account. The child's surgery was successful. When you saw the bright smile on the child's face after recovery, you felt extremely relieved. You know that everything you did is meaningful. As the influence of the fund grows, you have also become the focus of social attention. Many media invited you to share your story, hoping that through your experience, more people will dare to lend a hand when others are in trouble, and at the same time be wary of those who take advantage of others' kindness. However, just as you were immersed in the joy of helping others, a new trouble quietly came. One day you suddenly received an anonymous call, and a gloomy voice came from the other end of the phone. Do you think you won? You ruined our good thing. You will pay the price for it. After that, the phone was hung up. You held the phone with a frown. You know that this anonymous call cast a shadow on your heart. You know that this is probably a threat of revenge from the remnants of the interest group. Although you are a little worried, you are not scared. You decide to strengthen your precautions and inform the police of the matter, hoping that they will pay attention and investigate. In the next few days, you always stay vigilant. Pay attention to whether there are suspicious people around when you go out, and tell your family to be careful. However, it seems calm on the surface, but there are undercurrents. One evening, you went to the kindergarten to pick up your son from school as usual. When you arrived at the kindergarten, you found that the atmosphere was a little strange. Other parents looked at you with hostility and whispered about something. You were confused and went up to ask a parent who usually had a good relationship with you. The parent hesitated for a moment, but still told you. There's negative news about you on the internet again, saying that you set up the fund just for show and defrauded everyone's donations, and that you used improper means to win the lawsuit before. After hearing this, you were furious. You knew that someone must be behind this and trying to discredit you again. You immediately took out your mobile phone to check, and sure enough, another round of attacks on you was launched on the internet. The comment area was full of insults and accusations, and many netizens who did not know the truth began to follow suit. I have long felt that this person is not simple. There must be something fishy. What Rebirth Hope Fund is just a fraud tool. Don't be fooled by him again. You realize that this is a premeditated public opinion attack, the purpose of which is to destroy the reputation and fund you have worked so hard to build. You did not panic, but quickly contacted the lawyer and public relations team to discuss countermeasures. The lawyer suggested that you first collect evidence to prove that these remarks were maliciously fabricated, and then use legal means to hold the rumor maker accountable. The public relations team prepared a statement to clarify the facts to the public. At the same time, you decided to take the initiative. Through various channels, You reveal to the media the details of how the interest group manipulated public opinion to frame you before, as well as the possible retaliation this time. The media paid great attention to this matter and conducted in-depth investigations and reports. With the intervention of the media, some rational netizens began to re-examine the matter. They found that the negative news this time lacked strong evidence and was more of an emotional accusation. Moreover, the judgment of your previous victory in the lawsuit and the details of the fund's operation, etc., all proof that you did nothing wrong. However, just when public opinion began to turn around, a more difficult problem arose. The fund's account was suddenly frozen because someone reported that the fund had financial problems. You are extremely anxious, knowing that this is another ruthless move by the other party to try to destroy the fund from the root. The freezing of the fund account is undoubtedly a fatal blow to the Rebirth Hope Fund. Many people waiting for help are in trouble, and you are also under great pressure. On the one hand, you arrange team members to appease those who seek help, explain the situation to them and promise to solve it as soon as possible. On the other hand, you communicate with lawyers and relevant departments to try to find out why the account is frozen and how to unfreeze it. After a difficult investigation, you found that the person behind the anonymous call bribed a staff member inside the fund to forge some evidence of financial problems in order to report the fund. You are furious and vow to find out these behind-the-scenes culprits. With the help of a lawyer, you filed a lawsuit in court against those who maliciously reported and forged evidence. At the same time, you also actively cooperated with the investigation of relevant departments and provided various real financial information and evidence to prove the innocence of the fund. However, things are not so easy to solve. The other party seems to have been prepared and constantly creates trouble to hinder the investigation. They also continue to spread rumors online, misleading the public, further damaging the reputation of the fund. At this time, your family was also affected. Your son was isolated by other children in kindergarten, and your wife would be pointed at by neighbors when she went out. Your parents were even more worried about you, and their physical condition was getting worse and worse. Faced with these difficulties, you felt physically and mentally exhausted, but you knew you couldn't give up. You kept encouraging yourself and your team members, telling them that they must persevere and the truth will always come out. In this difficult process, you got the support of some former beneficiaries. They stood up to speak for you and told their real experience of receiving assistance, so that more people began to believe that you and the fund had good intentions. Finally, with the unremitting efforts of you and your team, the relevant departments found out the truth, proved that the fund had no financial problems, and the account was unfrozen. Those who maliciously reported and spread rumors received the legal sanctions they deserved. The fund resumed operation, and you were relieved. However, after this incident, you realized that it is not enough to just help others, but you also need to be vigilant against the malicious ends hidden in the dark and protect yourself and those around you. Just when you thought everything was going to be on track, an unexpected news broke the peace again. In the process of investigating the source of the anonymous call, you found that there seemed to be a bigger conspiracy behind it, and the spearhead of this conspiracy seemed to point to a person you didn't expect. This unexpected person turned out to be your former friend Lee Kyung. You never thought that he, who seemed to be silently supporting you, was actually one of the masterminds behind this series of events. You and Lee Kyung have been friends for many years and have spent many good times together. You can't accept this cruel fact anyway. In order to find out the truth, you decided to find Lee Kyung to ask him face to face. You asked Lee Kyung to meet in a coffee shop. When Lee Kyung appeared, you looked at his familiar and unfamiliar face, and your heart was mixed. Lee Kyung, why? Why did you do this? You asked straight to the point, with anger and confusion in your eyes. Lee Kyung was silent for a while, then slowly spoke. I envy you. You are always so lucky. Your work goes smoothly. Your family is happy. And there are so many people supporting you. As for me, I have always been struggling at the bottom. And no matter how hard I try, I can't get what I want. So you choose to destroy me in this way? Do you know how much pain you have brought to me and my family? And those who really need help because of your selfishness. They almost lost hope. You were so angry that you trembled all over. There is no hope in this world. Only interests. I originally thought that I could get what I wanted by following that interest group, so I participated in their plan to frame you. I saw that you could turn over and set up a fund to receive so many praises. I was unwilling, so I planned all this again. You looked at Li Qiang, your heart was full of disappointment. We used to be friends. I always regarded you as a brother. How could you do such a thing? Friends? In front of interests, friends are worthless. Li Qiang said to Stephanie. You know that Li Qiang in front of you has been blinded by interests and is hopeless. You stopped talking nonsense with him and said directly, Li Qiang, what you did has violated the law, and you will pay the price for your behavior. After that you stood up and left. After returning home, you told the lawyer what Li Qiang did, and the lawyer said that he would collect evidence and sue Li Qiang. At the same time, you were also thinking about why human nature becomes so distorted in the face of interests. You decided to share this experience, so that more people can be alert to the hidden dangers around them, uncherished through friendship and kindness. As the evidence is gradually collected and improved, you bring Li Qiang to court again. In court you look at Li Qiang, and there is no anger in your heart, only pity. In the end, Li Qiang was sentenced to fixed-term imprisonment for participating in malicious framing, slander and other crimes. The matter finally came to an end, and your life and your family's life gradually returned to peace. After going through many hardships, the Rebirth Hope Fund has become more mature and stable, helping more and more people.